Hey,
How you doing, man?
nice to see you here. Thanks for being here.
Oh, good, man. Good to be here.
So I want to get right into it. This song tackles a couple of really big issues. Starts off with a very specific story in the first verse, one from Newfoundland. Can you tell me that story?
Yeah, well, that's kind of where this whole song came from was, the whole song is put together by different stories that people shared. When I posted about this rape case in Newfoundland about a year and a half ago, it was just something I was on my wife's Facebook because I don't have Facebook. And I was using hers, scrolling through, and saw a post about this, young child that was raped, molested, a bunch of stuff. And it was very detailed, and it was kind of explaining the whole story. And, it got to the end, and it was like, this guy got, I think it was like 15 months or something. He was out. It was just kind of blew my mind that, this type of stuff happens. You always hear about child abuse, but it's usually not talked about. It's usually pretty kept quiet between the family, whatever it is. And when I saw this article, it honestly blew my mind that this guy did all this stuff. He was guilty, and he was out in the street 15 months. So I kind of just, reposted and was like, this is crazy, Does this happen?
I remember you posting that.
It was just very random. Just kind of woke up Monday morning, saw. I was like, "This is crazy." Just kind of, said my piece. Like, we got to do better than this. And the amount of, messages, people reaching out, telling me their stories, just from me mentioning this one time, was crazy.
And then the victim herself reached out to you, right?
Yeah. Well, originally it was her caseworker reached out, and then the girl sent me a message. Just was, grateful that I talked about the case, and we still talk. I talked to her yesterday, but no, it was more so all these messages I kept getting from people and telling me their stories of like, look, I was molested when I was young, by my stepfather, my father, or someone I knew, and he got nothing for it. And it's like the amount of case, it blew my mind. Like it made me step back and go, wow, like this is a real big thing, and why does no one talk about this? And that's where the whole song started from. Was that?
Is that overwhelming? People telling you these stories because at one point you do have to read them. Is that
totally? And you have to write back to them too, because you don't want to. You can see that someone read it, and you don't want to be that guy that's like reading these deep, heartfelt messages people share with you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I honestly don't know how to react to it sometimes. I'm just like, thank you for sharing your story with me, and I hope it can get better for you. Like I'm not Dr. Phil. I don't know the right things to say with these situations, but I just try to be courteous and be a good person. But yeah, no, it's weird. Like sometimes it's very depressing because you keep when it first happened. I remember telling my mother, and I was like, I just keep getting these messages of these people that are going through these things that no one talks about. And
so when do you decide that I'm gonna well, like you said, you're not Dr. Phil. You can't, thank God, and you can't you can't respond in a way that would be necessary.
Totally, and I don't want to come off in.
Yeah, I get it.
You know what I mean? Inconsiderate, exactly.
But when do you decide like what I can do is to write a song about this?
That's what I do whenever I go through something. Whether it's a personal thing, that's the best way I have to get through it, put my emotions out there, is write a song. So that was just like, it was just natural for me to be like, I got to write something about this.
If you're just tuning in, this is Q. I'm speaking Classified about his new single, Powerless. Take a listen.
'Cause I don't wanna be here no more.
Shout out where my birthplace is, and to the First Nations, and to the people making the best out of the worst cases. Too many unanswered questions in open murder cases. Without a voice, how we supposed to encourage changes? My grandmother was part white and part native. In fact, my high school was part white and part native. Personally connected, I met people who've been affected. They've been asking for some help, but they've been continually neglected. How many more of these Indigenous women have to go missing before somebody would listen, huh? We need to change the conditions. Maybe it's blatant racism, maybe there's hate in the system, but we gotta fix it, cause the people fear, and the mothers fear, and the fathers fear. Like, don't anybody care about my daughter? Don't anybody care?
That's a little Classified song, Powerless. So we kind of talked about chapter 1 of the song. Like chapter 2 of the song is in many ways about the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls in Canada. A very complex issue to tackle, and especially in a song. Why did you decide to take it on?
Well, just because with the whole topic of the song being powerless, but it came really down to this one story. I was downtown Halifax. I was halfway done this song, wrote the first part of it. I wrote this song. It took me about a year to finish this song. Like I started the song a year and a half ago and just finished mixing it 2 months ago. So I met a girl downtown Halifax. She was an Indigenous girl, and this is 2 o'clock, the end of the night. We were going to her car, kind of calling it a night. And she was like, it'd be really cool if you wrote something about what's going on with Indigenous women. And as soon as she said it, like, I went to school with, like, our school was, like I say in the song, half white, half Native. Lots of Native friends. My grandmother's from Newfoundland. She was part Native. So as soon as she said it, it was like, why am I not talking about this? You know what I mean? This is such a serious topic that people always hear about it, but it's kind of like in one ear out the other. It doesn't stick around. No one seems to want to push it and take it further and keep that conversation going. So that's what this was.
Well, yeah, it's an uncomfortable part of our history that we don't necessarily
Totally.
want to acknowledge. And not just our history, but something that's going on right now. And we don't always want to talk about the bad
Totally.
parts of being Canadian. You know?
Exactly. And that is a bad part of just, the way we treated these people and, even the way it's still going now. And I think people just would rather go, okay, we know we did something wrong, but we don't want to talk about our problems.
I don't mean to get too heady here, but what do you mean by powerless?
Powerless is people feeling like they, they're going through this problem. It started with the kids, like a young kid going to a policeman or going to their mother or father and saying, look, I'm going through this. People are hurting me, and no one doing anything about it. To me, that's someone feeling powerless, feeling like they're not having support of their community or people to be, help them get through a problem they're having.
And so is part of the goal here, I mean, in making this song to make people realize that they do have power, that they do have people they can lean on?
It is, but it's the main reason was to get people talking about it.
Right.
Like originally when I wrote the song, I changed one line because it used to be just, what was that? Hush, hush, how these kids supposed to trust us? Don't let them feel powerless. That's what it says now. Before, it was more negative. Like, I didn't want it to seem like there was a positive at the end.
You didn't want it to seem too hopeful.
No, like, I wanted to be like, this is raw topics. Like, let's talk about this. This isn't like, we're going to get through it together. This is like just something I wanted to open the conversation. The fact that we're here talking about it, this is the goal of the song, is just to get people talking about it.
And one of the ways you're getting people talking about the song, and I don't mean to be glib here, is that this is a really powerful video. You got Andy Hines, who directed, who's from Nova Scotia, who directed, most recently directed the video for Logic and Alessia Cara. It was one of the most viewed.
Yeah, he's done a lot of big video stuff with Kanye and everything. And getting him involved was, a whole different level. IV, my DJ, knew him. He was in the studio. I played him Powerless, and I was like, man, I want to find a director. He's like, let me send it to Andy. And I was like, Andy's in LA. He's doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
He sent the song to him. He called me like 2 hours later. He's like, I'm coming home. I want to shoot this video. And he really took control. Like, he didn't just direct the video. He had people donating. He went to the community. Like, he really made this something special and became like a very big part of it too, more so than just being a director.
And I know this is a radio show. Can you tell us a little bit like the arc of the video? Like how the video goes?
Yeah, well, just with what we're talking about the song, where it's kind of two specific topics about like child abuse and then Indigenous women missing and murdered. He really tied the two things together, which is what I liked about it. He, took the two different stories and made it kind of one thing, told this one young girl's story, going through child abuse and then being a missing Indigenous woman. So I really liked how he brought that together, and he showed the beautiful side of like these native communities like Millbrook, Indian Brook is where I grew up. Like there's, I grew up with a lot of those people, so it's a personal thing, and he really wanted to bring this home and show the communities that we were writing about, not just go shoot this on set and get actors. Like these are all real people. So
And so how did you get the folks from Millbrook First Nations involved?
just reached out, and they were very proud to, very proud, and just even the feedback from them reaching out after the video came out, just how happy they were, like how it came out. Because I had people, like some people, like when we were shooting the video, there was this lady who, she's in the video holding the sign up, her sister was murdered 9 years ago, and she told me her whole story, and kind of the last thing she said was like, don't f this up.
Right.
Which kind of scared me, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, I know this is a serious topic, but I think I'm doing something right, you know what I mean? But at the same time, a lot of the times when people try to tell these stories of, Indigenous women, Indigenous lifestyle and what's going on, they don't show the good side, the bright side of it. I think that's what Andy did really cool, was showing that traditional, them in their traditional outfits, the drums, the dancers, all that stuff, and showing like how beautiful it is.
Well, you do have to be careful. Just speaking as a white person, you
Totally,
do have to be very
even
careful.
being here, like I'm not gonna lie, like
Yeah.
I'm a little bit nervous
Me too.
because I know it's a very, hot topic, and you don't want to say the wrong thing. And I'm not politically correct by any means. I'm
Yeah.
a dude from the East Coast. I make rap music.
Hey, we're
but I have a
both
heart.
here together, man. Don't
There
worry
we go.
about it.
But you know what I mean? I've been raised right to feel like, I always try to write songs that, I have older songs called Noah's Ark, Inspiration, All About You, that are songs that, I don't want to say give hope, but they just talk about real life situations, things that are going on, and kind of addressing them.
I mean, but it's you're right, because you have to get it right, and you also have to provide. You can't be the dominant voice. You have to provide a voice for other people to
Totally.
speak, for people who actually are going through these things.
Exactly.
To speak. It's complicated for sure.
Totally. And it's like, sometimes I don't know what line I'm supposed to cross,
Yeah.
but I feel like, just to be honest, it might sound corny, but if I feel like I'm doing something right. So I'm just trying to approach this be as honest I can, and just talk about what I know and what I'm still trying to learn from it.
And use your platform. You have a big
Exactly.
platform. I mean, do artists have a responsibility to talk about these things?
I don't know if they have a responsibility, but I it's funny because me and Andy were making this. Like, that was one of the things that stood out to us. We're like, it's going to be great when other artists see this and go, man, what am I writing songs about? You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it's such a serious topic. Like, I got other songs on my album that are like, having fun, rap stuff, blah, blah, blah. And I like doing that stuff. But when you have a song like this, it really makes you step back and go like, this is the kind of stuff that makes a difference.
This is an interesting conversation to have. What kind of reaction have you been getting from people?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And like I said, I was a little bit nervous when it was kind of come out because, people always find a negative way to look at stuff.
Yeah.
But it's been amazing. Like, if I showed you my Facebook inbox right now, it's literally people being like, I watched your video, I bawled my eyes out, I went through this, I went through that. Thank you for speaking up for us. And that's like, I got goosebumps right now talking about it. Like, that's the stuff that I love about this, making music.
Man, thanks for coming in.
All good, man.
Nice to finally hang out. I'll see you in Halifax.
All right, man.
We'll have a good time.